A warm welcome, dear trading friends. This is a short update video on the Bitcoin breakout. Here we can see Bitcoin breaking out of this downtrend that has been happening here. I actually went short here, and I'm still in a short position, which I'll show you in a moment. There are two possibilities that could still play out for me now. Right now, we're also seeing a small rejection, but this short here was quite interesting to me because I got the notification. I was actually lying by the pool. Notification, Bitcoin has risen above $112,000, and I saw that this was exactly the rejection zone. So I went short here, of course, with risk. I still have it open at the moment, and you'll also see how it develops. For me, at this point in time, the RSI is above 80, which could lead to a recovery on the 1 hour chart. We have a CME gap at 110,990. I can show you that visually again if you want. It's actually super interesting to see it like this. CME gap, tomorrow's market opening. If we don't reach that today, I can imagine that the markets will pick it up again sometime next week. That's why I don't see any danger for my position yet. I also don't see any danger yet. At the moment, it's simply on a 1 week basis. Guys, we have 10 billion in accumulated liquidations below us here. What would contradict this, even on a 1 week basis, is the liquidation heat map at 105,000 to 106,000 US dollars, where it really lights up strongly below us. But in this case, since I've been talking way too bearishly now, we could go down. And I know nobody wants to hear it, but of course I also have something bullish for you. Just take a look at how tempting this looks up here. 2 week basis liquidation hit. With Bitcoin, we're looking at 115,000 to 117,000. US dollars, where it gets really interesting, so maybe we could even climb up there now. We'll see. Right now it's important and it's presented very simply. We've had the breakout from this downtrend. If we can't hold this now and actually drop back again, then I see the following option for myself. Two possible entry points. First, from this low to this high, you know my trading strategy. Then it would be roughly here. Depending on where we enter, either the 0.5 Fibonacci or the 0.618 could actually fit very well with this uptrend, with this small uptrend. It fits here. But then I have the next option. If that doesn't hold, I still have another possibility here. The 0.5 or 0.618 if it goes further down. But then I have to look at the liquidations to see where something is if we go further down. Just as a small example, at this point in time, it's super important, really super important. And for that, I'll briefly switch to the other chart. There, it's actually displayed a bit more clearly and distinctly so that we can break through these highs upwards. Where do we have that? I'm going in here now. That would be the first high that needs to be broken to the upside. If we finally had a truly confirmed structure break over there, then things could continue. The second thing, of course, is exactly this level where we had a double top. That's the one we shorted. Do you remember how we entered this short position here? Exactly at the 0.618 Fibonacci level. That worked out wonderfully. We got in. By the way, the last position where I set up a short, I closed with a 0.28% loss, unleveraged. So with leverage, it was about 1%, a little over 1%. That turned out to be a good decision, as you can see here, because this position would have hit the stop loss. I shared this on Telegram that I exited this short with a small loss. Better that way before we would have taken the full stop loss. Exactly, but that's how it looks for now. I also have something else exciting for you in a moment that I want to share with you. If we really break through to the upside now and see further possible bullish scenarios here, I'm of course curious to see where I'll find my new long entry. Depending, it could be here now, as I said, 110, 109, or actually even further down if we look here, 107 to a maximum of 105 would be down here. But I would rather go with these. 107, 106 with the liquidation heat map, where do we have that? That's displayed very nicely there. 106,000 to 105,000, there's something there, but we would have to analyze that more closely later. At this point, I obviously see the possibility either today or with the weekly chart that we close the CMI gap here. If it doesn't get closed, then I'm wrong in this case. The last CMI gap was also closed right on point here. And normally it's really the case that the CMI gaps almost never let me down, that they get targeted. Maybe this time I'll be wrong, but we'll see. Of course, I'm still waiting for reasonable entries. That means my current short position, the one I have right now, is simply just from I took it based on a price pattern, a chart pattern as I showed you. And also because of the liquidation we had above us before, because here, if we go down, I think it was on the daily chart, or was it? For 3 days, this liquidation cluster was there. That was the first liquidation cluster. We had it above us, then new fresh ones came in and those were taken out again as well. We see new shorts here. A lot of new shorts are forming right now, really trying to push the price down again. But for me, the liquidation cluster in connection with this was descending. I thought to myself, if it runs, I'll risk the short and I'll leave this one open for a bit longer because we also have the 0.5 entry and the next possible 0.618 entry at 117,000. Of course, it was a perfect match. With the liquidation heat map, we saw that it matched up completely on a 2-week basis. And that would be, if it really doesn't hold, the 117,250 level, this whole price area here, that would be the next opportunity for me, 116,839, depending on how the cluster develops above, to go short again. I'm not saying that we'll actually go all the way down, but I do see the possibility that depending on where we get a correction, we might see the first opportunity here again. Get a larger correction, pick up liquidation somewhere further down, and then possibly continue to rise. Then we would have broken this high as mentioned earlier and this high here, which could briefly lead to a pullback and liquidate the market again. And then it continues upward. Because just look at this, if I draw it in now from this low to this high, and then back down again, we would have wonderful price targets, which would be up there at 121,000 to 127,000 US dollars. And of course, that's super interesting whether we'll actually get there. Then I'll be curious again because I'll keep looking out for where the next rejection zone could be on the larger time frame. Now we'll take this high, and the last high, which actually line up very well. And let's see where we end up here. Roughly that would be about where we have these highs. Between 125 and 127,000, we could possibly see another rejection here because of this trend line. That doesn't mean it has to happen, but I'm prepared for it. To sell again and possibly open new shorts, just like we did here when we went short. Right now it's also very, very exciting. Large orders and whale orders, they're okay at the moment, I'd say, from an overview perspective. But what's also very interesting to me is that right now there's an attempt to move Bitcoin when it goes to the limit with massive positions to shadow. Here you can see it with this line here. There are nearly 100 million in a short position lying there, waiting to be picked up a bit further along. Above that, we have 151 million lying here in a short position, so at around 114,000 US dollars. They're currently trying to short, and this one larger short position here has actually been open for quite some time. It's just being gradually increased at the moment. That's what we have here, and it's exciting to see. I've also been watching the market a bit more closely here. As we were rising, new large short positions kept coming in, then going out a bit, then coming back in again. But some of these were picked off, at least partially. Others have just been placed and are still waiting here with smaller amounts like 10 million, but here too you can see these 95 million. There you see what I already mentioned, and 150 million. So, the 150 million could of course cause a rejection, because at the moment you don't really see much rejection above that level. Next up, the next larger position is now again at 117,000 with 100 million that is supposed to be triggered short. 117,000, remember what I said? 117,000 is a super interesting liquidation zone. Around 117,000 we also have the potential bearish 0.618 Fibonacci, which is just a bit above that. But that would line up with the large orders here. Otherwise, if I zoom out a bit here, you can see it. At the moment, of course, there's a lot of order volume. Some has accumulated here, but otherwise it's not as strong as it was before. This order was closed here. It was also a bit larger, and it was closed today. Of course, we have to wait and see what comes in tomorrow with the market opening, where and which orders will be placed. But the way it was before with the $95,000, those larger clusters that kept opening and closing, they're not really there anymore, which I find super interesting, and of course it also indicates something. At this point in time, this means we have a more short-term bullish signal here to pick up the upper orders, but also to capture the upper liquidity above us. And what else do we have? I've closed all the bots. Guys, all the bots are closed. You can still see the 100% win rate I have here on my private channel. On the second account, the funded account, I've also closed a few bots because we will, in the next video and in one of the upcoming live streams, we will open new ones together or plan new ones. Other than that, besides my current short position, I also have the others here. Trading bots that are just running incredibly well. It's just so pleasant. I've shown you all of this in the video. With 100% passive income on autopilot. Of course, I'm happy about every single new subscriber who joins in here. I hope my videos are worth even more. Also check out Trading Learner step by step to becoming a pro trader. That is also being updated continuously. It's so exciting. Just like how I made my trades here in the past and took almost full advantage of the market. Except for the current pump here, unfortunately I missed out on that one. But back to the topic, what's also super exciting is that the 10,000 Bitcoin holders, or rather those who have more than 10,000 Bitcoins, are accumulating again. On Friday they actually bought again at a price of about 110,000, they bought 26,000 new Bitcoins. And that's super exciting to see because it means they're apparently moving from a selling phase back into an accumulation phase. Now the question is, how much will be accumulated? Accumulation phases always occur when prices are low. That doesn't mean, and I want to point this out now, so we don't assume we've already seen the lowest price. Because as you can see here, when they start to accumulate, that's just the first sign, since the price could still fall further afterwards. And that's important to keep in mind now. The more people buy in, don't forget, just because they're buying now, it doesn't mean you can definitely buy more. You can definitely join in. We have a lot of liquidation below us. Don't forget that. We have 10 billion below us here. There might still be a chance to buy in at a better price. That's what I'm aiming for. And even if we look back here in the past, of course, the further a price falls, as you can see here, for example, there was already active accumulation happening here. But even so, back then, at a price of around $71,000, they accumulated all the way down to about $57,000. Because they said, okay, now we have an accumulation phase. That doesn't just mean that they're already buying in again now. So that's it. That's a good sign. It could indicate the possibility that we're approaching a bottom. But do actually prepare yourselves for potentially even lower prices, because of course they're not going to buy a little bit right at the top. They would probably more rarely buy gradually as the price rises. No, you can see here they always start to accumulate massively no matter where that is. When the price is falling, they make dollar cost average repurchases, and then when the price is high enough, they also start to sell a bit. That always comes gradually as well. And we should prepare ourselves for that. Just because they are accumulating, here's another small example, that doesn't mean here they accumulated at a price of $39,000, but then Bitcoin still moved down to around $29,000, so $10,000 less. But they just kept accumulating the whole time. It's just a good sign. So that in the future or in the near future, we can see higher prices. That's what I wanted to share with you. Otherwise, there's really not much more to say right now, except that we have to wait and see. It's a Sunday pump, and currently there's not as much volume as there should be. The order books aren't as full as they should be. I'll give you an up-to-date video tomorrow, especially about the order books, how things look, what's new coming in, and how my trade is progressing. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and see you next time.